What's going on, guys? This is Talking Sports Podcast with Adam and Alec. This is episode 18. Today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We got some big games this weekend, 4 big games. And after this week, we'll know who will be in the conference championship. So it's going to be an exciting week. And we're going to talk a little bit about last week and the wild card round.
Last week,
there
were a couple of really good games last week. Most of them, though, weren't really too competitive. We'll just go from the first game all the way to the last. The first game, we had Las Vegas and Cincinnati. That was actually one of the 2 really good games this past weekend. Derek Carr led passing with 310. Josh Jacobs had 83 rushing yards, and Jamar Chase went off for 116 receiving yards. Cincinnati got their first playoff victory since, 1993?
It's been 31 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. They ended up winning 26-19. Again, that was probably the second best game of the week. It's really good to see a young quarterback like Burrow able to advance in his second year, first fully healthy season. So he's got a bright career ahead of him, I feel like.
Yeah, this was a great game to watch for sure. Man, Jamar Chase is a beast. I don't think anyone in the NFL can stop Jamar Chase. And Burrow's right up there with him, They had a great game. It was crazy at the end. The Raiders were going down to tie the game, and then Carr threw a pick on the 5-yard line. So that was kind of a crazy way for the game to end. Kind of thought it was about to go into overtime. Cincinnati fans couldn't breathe, but then they threw the pick. The Raiders, considering all they've went through, I would call this a successful season.
For sure.
After the stuff with Gruden and obviously Ruggs and all the crazy stuff that's gone on with them, for their assistant coach to step up and be an interim and lead the team to the playoffs, that's really impressive. And the first time that's ever been done, an interim coach leading a team to the playoffs. So, I think this is a big offseason for the Raiders, but we're not sitting here to talk about the Raiders, we're talking about the Bengals who won the game. It was an impressive game from Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They played great defense, and that's all I got on that game.
Yeah, Las Vegas definitely has a bright future considering what they were able to do this year. The second game on Saturday, not so competitive. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills dismantled the New England Patriots 47-17, sorry. And this is really a game that Buffalo's offense could do nothing wrong at all. They had 6 drives, 6 touchdowns. The only time they didn't score any points was the last drive when they took the kneel down. So really dominant performance all around by Buffalo. And that sets up a really good game this week, which we'll get more info on. Do you have any takeaways from that game other than this Buffalo Bills offense is outstanding right now?
The Bills are legit, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Like you said, we said last week in the podcast that place was going to be rocking. It was a night game. It's going to be 5 degrees. Bills Mafia fans going crazy, and it was. Nothing went wrong for the Bills. I think of the first touchdown when Josh Allen was trying to throw the ball away in the back of the end zone, and Dawson Knox jumps 8 feet in the air, it seemed like, and catches the football. And that was just set the tone for the whole game. And their defense made Mac Jones uncomfortable. He threw 2 picks, and they stuffed the run, and they just dominated the whole game.
Yeah,
I
really
think the Bills are legit.
Yeah, this week should be a really good game between those 2 teams. We move on to the Sunday slate of games. First up was Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. This is the game that neither one of us really expected to be close, and it wasn't really close. The final score was 31-15 Tampa Bay. Not much to talk about in this game other than Tampa Bay took care of business like they needed to, and now they can look forward to this week where they're going to have one of the hottest teams right now, I feel like, coming in. So do you have any takeaways on this game?
Don't let the score fool you. It was 31-0 going into the start of the fourth quarter. So they scored garbage time points. The Eagles, clearly they were outmatched. Tampa Bay was the better team. We knew that. We talked about it last week. Um, but yeah, like we said, we're going to talk about the matchups coming up. The Bucs took care of business, and it sets up for a great divisional matchup.
All right. The second game on Sunday, we're not going to talk much about it. San Francisco at Dallas. It was a really good game. Had a kind of a crud ending. Dak should have slid it earlier. Been able to spike the ball, go for the Hail Mary. Other than that, though, I feel like that was a really fun game to watch. San Francisco's defense early on looked really solid. Then Bosa got hurt, and that's when Dallas started moving the ball, I feel like. But I mean, it was a really good game. It's kind of what we all expected it to be. You really want to talk anything about this, or you just want to move to the next one? Okay.
The next.
Next game is Pittsburgh at Kansas City. This is one where it looked pretty good at the first quarter. Pittsburgh jumped out 7-0 because of a defensive touchdown from TJ Watt. And then Patrick Mahomes reminded everyone who he was. Kansas City goes on to win by 42-21. And that sets up the big-time heavyweight matchup between them and Buffalo this weekend. Was there anything in particular about that game that stood out to you?
Another game that kind of like the Eagles-Bucs game we talked about last week, where we thought it could get out of hand, and it very quickly did. Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns. Chiefs were obviously the better team. Pittsburgh came to play. They were ready in the first quarter. That TJ Watt defensive touchdown, that was pretty impressive. But after that, the Chiefs settled down and scored 5 straight scores.
Yeah, something like that.
From there on, it was over. Big Ben's last game of his career. So obviously future Hall of Famer. Great career by Big Ben. And yeah, he's hanging it up.
So has that been officially announced, or is that just a speculation right now?
I'm pretty sure he said that it's his last game.
And he had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
Obviously, didn't end how he wanted to, but other than that, Pittsburgh's been lucky to have a solid quarterback for 17 years almost.
Yep.
So now they get to go to that weird phase of, do you draft or do you free agent or trade? We'll see what they do in the offseason. The last game of I guess what they call it, super wild card.
Yeah.
Was Arizona at the Los Angeles Rams. This game, I thought was going to be really good. And then Kyler Murray just didn't do anything at all. And the Rams showed up like people expect that team to do with all the star power. So LA ended up winning 34-11. And really, it wasn't really competitive at all, not even from the beginning. Odell with his first playoff touchdown. He's been in the league for a while, it seems. So it's nice to see him actually doing something in the playoffs. Anything about this game that caught your eye?
Yeah, I was really surprised watching this game. I thought this was going to be a battle. These two divisional foes, who this is their third matchup this season. You would think that it would be a battle to the playoffs, but it ended up being a blowout. The big thing for me was the Rams defense. They controlled the line of scrimmage the whole game. Chase Edmonds for the Cardinals, 8 carries for 28 yards, stuffed, nothing. Kyler only threw for 137 and 2 interceptions. The big one that kind of put the nail in the coffin early was the one in the end zone where Murray just flipped it up when he should have just took the sack and the safety, but then they picked it off on the 2-yard line and ran it in for touchdown, pick 6. That's kind of when you knew that the Rams were going to win the game, in my opinion. But yeah, the Cardinals team this year reminded me of Pittsburgh from last year. Started off really hot. The Cardinals were 11-1.
Yeah, something like
maybe
that.
Not 10. They had 10 wins. They had a really good record at the start of the season. I don't remember exactly what it was, but just how Pittsburgh was last year, starting off 11-0 or whatever, and then just getting destroyed in the wild card round. Just the second half of the season, they just they peaked and then just fell right off the earth, it seemed
And
like.
some of that could be because of J.J. Watt missing some time and D-Hop. But still, I feel like that team had more potential than what it ended up being.
Yeah, definitely.
So the scores from last week set up all four of these games seem pretty good this week. The first game we have tomorrow at 3:30 Central Time is Cincinnati at Tennessee. Joe Burrow in his second playoff game goes up against Ryan Tannehill and Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry expected to play.
Yep, the King is back. Derrick Henry is officially playing tomorrow.
That is huge for Tennessee, especially they haven't had him for the last 7 weeks.
He's been out since week 8, so whatever the math is there.
I think
that's like 8, 9 games, something like that.
Yeah, and they still ended up getting the 1 seed. So this proves that Tennessee is actually a well-rounded team this year, and they could potentially win the Super Bowl. What is your prediction on this Cincinnati at Tennessee game?
This is a really intriguing game. Will Derrick Henry be 100%? We don't know. Derrick Henry is a beast, and he's a man among boys. We know that. Will he be the same Derrick Henry he was 9 weeks ago? Time will tell. We'll know by this time tomorrow, obviously. But I expect him to be a big factor in the game. Will they put a pitch count on him? I don't really know how severe like his recovery was and everything like that. So I'm not really sure. I'm looking forward to see how much they give him the ball, and for the Bengals, it's got to be get the ball to Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
I could see Chase having another breakout game here. It's really going to come down to Cincinnati's defense. If Derrick Henry's good and is running the ball well, can they stop him? Because if they can't stop him, I don't think they can win the game, because Tennessee has a great defense as well, which will be a challenge for this great Cincinnati offense. But the Bengals got to get Chase going, got to get the run game, got to get Mixon going. Titans, we see 1 seeds a lot of times because they've had to bye the last week off. They come out flat in the first half, and I think that could be to Cincinnati's advantage.
right.
Especially Derrick Henry hadn't played in 3 months, however long it's been. It could take them a while to get back in rhythm. So I could honestly see Cincinnati be leading this game at halftime, and I could see the Titans winning the game at the end.
Right.
So this is a really hard game for me to pick. I don't know. I guess I'm just the Bengals are coming in hot, but I can't go against Derrick Henry. I'm gonna take the Titans in a close game. Probably give me a score of like 28-24 Titans.
Yeah. And I think ideally for Tennessee, you'd like to jump out to an early lead, because I don't think you want to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry 30+ times this game. You want to ease his way in, maybe 20 at the most his first game back, because he's used to getting more, 25+ carries a game. So you don't want to do that right off the bat. I think you jump out 7-0, 10-0 early, rely more on your backup backs. That way you're not risking injuring him further. I think, Jamar Chase, like you mentioned, has to have a big game for Cincinnati to possibly win this game. And I'm going to go on the flip side of what you said about Tennessee being the 1 seed coming in slow. I think they got the King back. That stadium's going to be bumping. I got Tennessee 21-13. And I think they jump out to a 10-0 lead. Derrick Henry doesn't have a huge game because he's easing back into it. But I do have Tennessee winning this one.
I think that'll be the key for the Titans. Like, best case scenario is get to a big lead. Because then second half, you don't have to worry about Derrick Henry and him re-aggravating the injury or anything. You can just rest him. That's best case scenario. But I honestly think Bengals are winning this game at halftime, but then the Titans figure it out second half. That's my prediction.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Our next game is San Francisco at Green Bay. Green Bay, the other 1 seed. coming off the bye, like we mentioned, and San Francisco coming off the earlier of a game in Dallas or Arlington, I guess. Bosa is out,
He's
and
playing. He's playing.
he's playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
Bosa's playing. Okay,
That happened like a couple hours ago.
Okay. Sorry. So Bosa's playing. That bodes well for San Francisco. This is a game I could see San Francisco actually winning. This is a team that Green Bay doesn't match up particularly well against. And again, this is going to come down to, can Jimmy Garoppolo just play the game manager? He doesn't need to do too much. Just manage the game, get the ball to Debo. And San Francisco could come into Lambeau and get a win. It's not going to be easy because it's going to be, 5 degrees, snowing.
Yeah.
It's going to be winter weather in Lambeau like always. But Green Bay could come out slow after the first week bye. And San Francisco, coming in high. I could see San Francisco winning 17-14 this game. Yeah, I got San Francisco 17-14 this game. I think the 1 seed goes down and San Francisco move on to the conference championship.
This game could be really interesting. Green Bay coming off the bye week. They're at home, Lambeau, like you said. It's going to be 5 degrees. Fans are going to be crazy. It's playoff football. Man, I think it's going to come down to the defenses in this game. Obviously, like you said, the Niners will have Bosa. The Packers they're all fresh coming off the bye week. The thing I think the Packers need to do is they just got to get Devontae the Rock.
Right.
Get him the ball all the time because that 49ers secondary is not that good. And they need to expose them. And I hope they expose them. And the Packers need to establish the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, because all the Niners do is run the football. Because Garoppolo can't do crap if he's got to throw the ball 40 times a game.
Right.
So if they stop the run and get the ball to Devontae, I think Packers could win this game by a good amount. I'm definitely taking Green Bay in this game. I'll take Green Bay 35-24 in that range.
High scoring game in the snow.
Yeah, I think the Packers are fit for this.
That is on Fox at 7:15. The other game was on CBS at 3:30. That moves us towards our Sunday slate of games. The first game being the Los Angeles Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2:00 on NBC. The Rams coming off of a very dominant win over the Arizona Cardinals. Tampa Bay coming off a very dominant win over the Philadelphia Eagles. These two teams are playing like 1 and 2 in the NFC at the moment. Based off last week, obviously Green Bay was off. But I think the winner of this game probably makes it to the Super Bowl. And I'd like to see Brady win another one. But this LA team has the guys to stop that from happening. The defense is good. The offense can explode at any given minute. And I think Tampa Bay's secondary is kind of sus. And with Cooper Kupp doing what he's doing this year, Odell Beckham Jr. doing what he's doing, Van Jefferson could go off. This has potential for LA to win on the road in Tampa. But me being a Brady guy, gotta go Tampa 24-17. Are you there? I think I lost you.
SoFi Stadium. So I think that'd be really cool if the Rams played Super Bowl in their own stadium. Obviously, Tampa Bay did it last year. If we had that 2 years in a row, that would be kind of cool. It's going to come down to Stafford, in my opinion. Stafford's been kind of wishy-washy the whole year. He played a great game last week, obviously. Outplayed the Cardinals big time. It's going to come down to him because Tampa Bay stops the run. No matter who they play, they shut down the run. all the time. They load the box, and they're built for stopping the run. The Rams got Cam Akers back for the wild card game, and he had a great game in that game against the Cardinals. But I think this comes down to Stafford. Will Stafford make the big throws that he needs to beat Brady? And I think it's going to come. The game's going to be in Stafford's hands, and will he deliver or will he not? I don't know if he will, honestly.
Right.
I think the Bucks are the better team. So I'm going to take the Bucks. Obviously, Brady has played in these games 4 million times by now. They're at home. It's in Tampa. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I'll go 28-17.
Real quick, my side cut out a little bit. I don't know if your side went out or not, but you picked back up when you said SoFi Stadium. Hopefully it got all of it. I don't know if it did though.
Yeah, it popped up. I had an internet connection issue. So I was just talking about how I would like to see the Rams in the Super Bowl for the reason that the Super Bowl will be in their stadium at SoFi. Yeah, that's and then it picked back up. So that's really what I was saying there.
Yeah. So yeah, like you mentioned, this game is literally on the shoulders of Matt Stafford. Can he manage it enough? Kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo, except he has more options, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And then the primetime game, probably the biggest game of the weekend, Buffalo at Kansas City, 5:30 on CBS. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Offense against offense. Kansas City's offense against Buffalo's defense. Kansas City's defense they are what they are. There's going to be a shootout, I feel like. There's going to be, was 2018 when you had Kansas City and the Rams on Monday Night Football?
Yes.
One of those
games.
It
was like 54-51 or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
everyone loved it. It's going to be one of those games, I feel like, because you saw what Buffalo's offense did last week. You saw what Kansas City's offense did last week. It is going to be a high-scoring, back-and-forth game. And I want to see Josh Allen win it. I think Buffalo wins 42-35 on a last-second touchdown. And, yeah, Josh Allen's going to have a game. Patrick Mahomes going to have a game too. But I think Buffalo's defense better than Kansas City's defense. That's what's going to be the factor.
I don't know what you think about this, but in my opinion, whoever wins this game will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
I think I would agree, but I need to see what Tennessee looks like tomorrow.
I got you.
I think Tennessee has a very good chance now that the King is back. If he wasn't back, I'd 100% agree. But it depends what they do next tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, this is going to be a big-time game. I expect this to be the game of the weekend, the best game we see. Like you said, the Bills last week were just unstoppable. Can they carry that on again into this week at Arrowhead? It's going to be freezing cold. It's a night game. The loudest stadium in the NFL. All those things factor in on the road in a playoff game. Josh Allen's legit, though. And if anybody can do it, it's going to be Josh Allen. I think it's going to be shootout as well. We saw the Bills offense last week against a pretty solid Patriots defense, and they just tore them apart. And I don't think the Chiefs defense is that crazy, honestly. I mean, they're good enough to win football games. As we see, they're here in the divisional round of the playoffs. But they're nothing that'll blow you out of the water, in my opinion. The thing that's crazy to me, I said this a couple episodes ago, is that Patrick Mahomes has never played an away playoff game. So if the Chiefs win and the Titans win, then next week, that'll be the first time, because the Titans are the 1 seed. That'll be the first time Mahomes has been on the road in the playoffs. The Chiefs offense, obviously we know what they are. We've known it for years. Man, I really want to pick Buffalo in this game because I'd love to see Buffalo go all the way, I don't know. I really don't know.
It's going to be
I expect this to be a crazy game, though. For that reason, I'll take the Chiefs just because they're at home.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how bad I want to pick Buffalo in this game. I really want to pick Buffalo, which means Buffalo's probably going to win. Because that's what my heart's telling me. But I'm going to pick the Chiefs because they're at home. So I'll take the Chiefs in a shootout. I'll say 42-35 Chiefs.
Okay.
And
Kind of
I
like we
agree
did.
with like a last second, could be overtime or just a
Yeah.
last second drive down, game
And I
winning
was going to
touchdown.
ask that next. Like last week, were there any games going to go to overtime? There weren't any. Do you think any of these four go to overtime this week? And what is your most likely to go to overtime?
Most likely, I think this Bills Chiefs game is the only game I can see going into overtime.
It's crazy how much anticipation and excitement is on this game.
Yeah.
It is insane. It's like this is basically the AFC Championship game, but a week ahead of time.
Yeah.
And depending on what happens tomorrow in Tennessee, Cincinnati, it very well could be the deciding factor because Cincinnati, I don't think, is good enough to go to the Super Bowl this year. Tennessee, it depends what they look like. But this game, a lot riding on it.
Yes, for sure. It is kind of disappointing that this game is not the AFC Championship because that would make it even crazier.
For sure.
But like you said, this feels like an AFC Championship game. The Chiefs have more experience in the playoffs, I feel like, deep into the playoffs. So I think that's also going for them. Plus, they're at home. But I think if anyone can beat this Chiefs team in the AFC, it's Buffalo. So I would not be surprised if Buffalo comes up here to Kansas and gets the job done.
Was this the game last year that knocked Buffalo out of the playoffs? Kansas City, Buffalo, or the year before? I feel like
I'm trying to remember.
I can look it up real quick. All right, so Buffalo beat Baltimore in the divisional round last year, which means they would have lost to
To
Kansas City
Kansas City in the championship. Yeah.
by a score of 38-24. So Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills obviously have some revenge on their mind.
Yes, they do.
Again, should be a heck of a game. And I would not be surprised if this one was the one that goes to overtime, decided by a coin flip. Buffalo gets ball first. They go down and score 7 or 6, I guess. Which that's one thing I've never really liked about the NFL overtime rules is if you get ball first, you score a touchdown, it's over. That is one thing I really love about the college overtime.
Yes,
You
I
both
agree.
have a chance. I don't like the 2-point conversion things, but I like you both have a chance at the 25. See what you can do.
And when that rule should have changed, in my opinion, is when that crazy game, Patriots, Chiefs, AFC Championship, it would have been 3 years ago now, I think, when Brady got the ball first. Incredible game. Just
Incredible.
both teams beating each other up. Like both teams deserve to go to the Super Bowl, honestly. Let's be real.
For sure.
Those teams were so close, like in skill and everything. And that was just an amazing game. And then Brady gets the ball first in overtime and they can't stop him. It goes down and scores. But I 100% believe if the Chiefs got the ball first, then Mahomes is going down and scoring, no doubt.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing would have happened if the coin toss is the other way. Kansas City,
Yep.
no one was stopping either offense.
No.
So, I mean, it sucks that it's like that. And, I mean, it's good for the fans of the team that end up on the right side, but it sucks as a fan of the game in general. Seeing that one team get heads, we get ball, they go down, score. The other team doesn't get a chance. I mean, at least they fixed it where a field goal doesn't automatically win it.
Yes.
But I still feel like both teams need one possession.
I agree 100%. But I honestly don't see the rule changing anytime soon. So I think it's something we're gonna have to live with for a while.
They don't like changing a lot of stuff.
No.
Yeah. Overall, should be a really fun weekend again this week. Hopefully, a couple more close games instead of just 2 that we had last week. All 4 of these games could be really good, minus the Cincinnati, Tennessee. Depends what happens with Derrick Henry, of course. Yeah.
I honestly think all these games are going to be really good. I don't think there's going to be any blowouts. I think like a team like the Packers and Titans could pull away towards the end of the game, but I think throughout most of the game, it's going to be close. So it's going to be really fun, exciting divisional playoffs weekend, and we'll be back here next week to preview the conference championships.
Yes, sir.